Hello everyone and welcome on into my channel. My name is Fenstars. I'm a Twitch streamer over on Twitch, and today I'm gonna show you the 10 things I wish I knew before starting playing Diablo. Some of them are very obvious for, veteran players or experienced players, but this video is primarily for new players who haven't really played any Diablo games before or just started a game and are curious about what to do to get the most optimized experience from the very beginning. I'm very new to Diablo. I haven't played any of the Diablo games before. I tried Diablo 2 for a slight bit, well over a decade ago. There was a lot of things that I had to just learn on the go, and there's a lot of things I wish I knew someone told me or showed me before I started the game. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let me show you the top 10 things I wish I knew before I started playing Diablo. Alright, tip number 1 is to upgrade your hull potions. At certain levels, you will see this icon appear above your hull potion, which means there's an upgrade available. First time around, you will see it on your map as well. Healing potion upgrade. Make sure to go do that every time you hit the level threshold. I want to increase my potency. Then you can see at certain levels you can upgrade your potions all the way up to level 90, so make sure to do that, because I forgot and I think I was level 40 or something using level 10 potion, and staying alive was pretty hard. Make sure to do that every time you hit a level threshold, like that. Tip number 2 is also at the alchemist, and that is to craft elixirs. Make sure you have elixirs on you at all times. You'll find them under the consumables tab in your inventory. These are super helpful as they will give you a stat increase or damage increase, and it will also give you experience for 30 minutes. So make sure to start crafting elixirs super early on and just use them every time you're doing something that is giving you XP. I also realized way too late that these were that helpful. I think I was over level 50 before I started using elixirs regularly, so make sure to craft your elixirs and use them. You will find the materials to craft elixirs in and around the world, so also make sure to pick up every kind of material you see. As you can see, I got a lot already. That's because this is an alt, so I can craft a shit ton already. I'm just gonna craft one. Now we can find it in our consumable, pop it, and then this icon down here will pop up and you're good to go. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is gonna revolve around stats. Your general stats. You see your stats when you go into your inventory and you see all these 4 stats: strength, intelligence, willpower, dexterity. These are general stats that your character has. Now, they're not the same on each class. Strength on my barbarian, it increases skill damage and increases armor, right? Now, if I go on my Sorc, you see strength only gives me increased armor. So you gotta be aware of that and make sure you know what your stats give you, as they don't behave the same on every single class. The same goes with intelligence, willpower, and dexterity as well, although dexterity usually revolves around crit and crit damage. But some might also have dodge challenge, which is something you just have to pay attention to. Alright, tip number 4 is gonna be transmogs. If you go to your blacksmith and see this icon on a piece of gear, make sure to salvage that item to get that item as a transmog. But before you do, make sure you don't want that item. Some items are very good and you might have to wait and use them and transmog them later. But if you don't need it, just go ahead and salvage. Then you see, visit the wardrobe to view it. You got a new transmog. Luckily, this is something I got told very early on, so I did that from the very beginning. My wardrobe is almost completely done. So make sure to do that and get those tasty cosmetics. And tip number 5 is gonna be do your altars of Lilith. These are a great way to increase the strength of your characters. I've already done them on my main character, so I won't get any right now, but every time you get them, you will get a stat increase. We're talking about these stats. They're flat stats and they will transfer over to all of your characters as a count bound, so you only have to do it once. So make sure to do that maybe in between your questing or leveling to get a bit extra stats that will help you progress a lot quicker. I cannot stress this enough. This is a great way to increase your stats without having to farm or grind or rely on RNG to get the things you want. So make sure to do that when you can. I did it all in one sitting. It took me about 2 hours, I think, in general. I found a map on the internet and I followed that, and it took me about 2 hours. So make sure to do that. It will greatly help and improve your character. Tip number 6 is going to do your Renown. This is also another way of increasing your strength and get some decent rewards for your character. If you go on your map, you hover above zone, press W, you will see what you get by completing all these side quest strongholds and also just exploring. As you can see, Altars of Lilith is also on the Renown board, so if you complete all your Altars of Lilith, you've already gotten a long way in completing your Renown. That and Stronghold is probably the quickest way of leveling up your Renown, and you of course would have to do a few side dungeons as well. But it's a great way of making your character stronger, and especially those 4 Paragon points at the end there, those are going to be more important after you hit level 50, but I would start this grind as soon as possible, and preferably do that at the same time as you're doing Altars of Lilith. So tip number 7 is do Legion event. You can see them on the map with this icon, Legion event. And what you want to do is go up to this campfire and get that campfire buff, because that is going to give you a lot more XP. These events are probably one of the best ways to get XP in the game right now. So make sure to fully optimize your XP gain by using this bonfire buff, and also make sure you pop a elixir. Tip number 8 is change your keybinds to what makes sense for you. Do that by going into your options, controls, and then you can go down here and make sure you put in your preferred keybinds. I did that, and it has greatly improved my way of playing. Some people don't really like this one. I liked it because that's what I'm used to, and as I said, I haven't played a Diablo game before. This is my first ever Diablo game, so I just went with it, and I tried to change it, but I couldn't get it to work. So I changed my keybinds to something I'm very familiar with, which is WASD. Some people might find weird, but to me that makes sense, and I always use the W as an alt or a defense ability, so I know I have to go up to do that. And this is just how I like it, but you can, change it to what you like, find something that makes sense for you. A lot of players use ASDF for their abilities, or QWER. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's entirely up to you, but go in there, change your keybinds to what makes sense for you, because it will make the game a lot smoother for you. Not everybody is gonna love the way the game is by default, so make sure to go changing your keybinds and customize your controls. It is super helpful, and it will help you in the long run. So tip number 9. So this is going to revolve around gear, not stats necessarily, but more trying to understand your gear in your inventory. I see a lot of people do this mistake where they look at level instead of item power. Item power is so much more important than level requirement. Level requirement is basically when can I wear it. It doesn't necessarily tell you how strong your gear is. So what you should look for is item power. So this chest has a 278 item power, and it requires level 16 to wear. As you can see, I'm level 23, but this item is still better than the one I got. So let's put it on. When you find a new piece of gear, make sure to look at the item power before anything. If it has a decent amount of item power, go through the stats and check if this is a viable piece for your build. Sometimes you will see differences in item power and stats. Some items have just better stats regardless of item power or level requirement, but for the most part, item power is a great indication. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when I first launched the game, I found that gear was a bit confusing at first, but after playing for a bit, I'm almost at 200 hours now, I learned that item power is the greatest indication on power and strength. And I usually tend to just look at the item power and decide if I want to keep it or not. Just go through it like this. And if you press shift, you can actually bring up your equipped item to compare gear in your inventory, like this one. Hey, how about that? Plus 4 all stats as well. I like that. So we're probably gonna swap these. Not really using twisting blades, but hey, plus 4 stats, like it. All right, and lastly, tip number 10. It's a bit of a fun one. I realized this one just by accident, and I know a lot of players don't know this. If you do, congrats, but a lot of players don't know this, and that is that you can jump over gaps with your mount by just holding your move button across the gap, and your mount will automatically jump over it. Which is super nice, because if you notice, when you dismount your mount, you get a 10-second cooldown. So having to get off your mount, jump over gaps, and then wait for that cooldown to end is super annoying. So if you can, make sure to jump over your gaps. It's just, you know, just one of those things that makes everything just smoother. That was it, guys. That was my top 10 things I wish I knew as a new player playing Diablo for the first time. Some of them are probably pretty obvious for a lot of you, but if you learned something, leave a comment and let me know what you learned. And if you got any other hints or tips, please share and let us all know. I would love to hear any great tips or hints that you guys have found. And as I said, I'm a new player and there's a lot of us out there, so hopefully you guys learned something. If you want to come hang out over on Twitch, we do stream on Twitch 3 times a week, playing Diablo right now and loving it. So if you want some Diablo content, make sure to join us over on the live stream. The link is down below. Make sure to give it a like and also subscribe to the channel, as I aim to make a lot of Diablo videos in the future. I'm gonna do a hardcore run as season 1 drops, and I'm super excited for that. So if you want to come join me for that, make sure to hit that follow button. I hope to see you there, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.